Forge your inner armor.
It's a great book written by a neurobiologist from Stanford called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. In there, he talks about the zebra has to deal with lions all the time. It does have to deal with life and death situations, and it's running from these lions. And when it does that, the autonomic nervous system, through its senses, through the zebra senses, it takes that information, says, that's a lion, I need to run. And the autonomic nervous system in milliseconds kicks into a sympathetic response, which then goes downstream to all these systems. Every single one of these systems has a reaction to what the autonomic nervous system tells it to do. So you can probably think of those already. What's the cardiovascular system going to do? The heart's going to beat faster. What's the respiratory system going to do? It's going to take in more oxygen. And on it goes.
Your endocrine system is going to flood you with adrenaline.
Exactly.
Right? Your digestive system.
It's going to shut down. It's not going to digest food. Your reproductive system can be impacted. You know, an animal in crisis isn't going to reproduce in a dangerous environment. And I used to do some work in the 90s with some fertility clinics, and it was very interesting. Not in all cases, but in some cases, we would see individuals with highly sympathetic nervous systems upstream. Remember, we're upstream, downstream.
Right.
And we were focusing on the reproductive system, realizing, oh, wait a minute, we need to go back upstream, stabilize the autonomic nervous system, and then that impacts the ability for reproduction. So animals do it that way. Senses. When the chase is over, if the zebra survived, if the chase is over, you know what that zebra is going to do? He's going to go back down to the river, and he's going to eat, he's going to drink, he's going to be with his baby zebras. But you know what he's not going to do? He's not going to worry about the next chase. He's not worrying whether his baby zebras are going to go to Harvard or not. He's not worrying about his 401k. He's just back in parasympathetic. And the reason many animals don't have a lot of these chronic illnesses that we have as humans is they're not stuck in sympathetic. They're not stuck in the what ifs. What if this happens? They're not stuck in the what abouts. What about this thing that happened that I can't resolve in my psyche? My unresolved past is my present. They're not stuck there, right? They're just living off their senses. But us as humans, we have this kind of blessing and a curse, and that is this big frontal lobe, okay? And this frontal lobe allows us to be able to think into the future and think into the past. We talk a lot, you know, you'll see people talking about being present. Well, the reason we're talking about being present, it's very easy to not be present, right? When I work with my pro athletes or my CEOs or entertainers, and I talk about that moment where I want them to be present, I want them to be 100% there. And if you watch some of the quarterbacks I work with, you'll see that when they walk onto the field, they're touching the ground. They're, if they can, grabbing some grass and kind of feeling it, taking in their senses and trying to be present. But our frontal lobe can take us out of presence, and it can put us into scenarios that aren't really happening. So if I ask you right now out there, are you really in a life and death situation? Is it a lion chasing you? Or is it something that you're constructing that's become a lion?